Hi, everyone. I'm BJ. I'm the genealogy specialist at the Maine State Library. And I very confidently, knowing today was the day the 1950 census was going to come out at 12:01 this morning at the National Archives website, told everybody I'm not going to learn anything new about my family. I'll wait till things die down in a week or two. Well, if anyone guessed that I would only last 23 minutes, yes, at 12:24 this morning, 23 minutes after the census went live, I was still awake, so I went to find my family. And so I'm going to quickly show you the two ways that you can find your family in the census. So let me share my screen here. And the first way is if you have an address. So for example, I know that my great-grandparents were living in Salem, Massachusetts, which is in Essex County. And you'll see there are all of these enumeration districts for Salem. So rather than going through all of them, I also happen to know, because they lived there pretty much from the time of their marriage in 1908 until I was a child in the late 1960s, early 1970s, at 22 Woodside Street. And there's Woodside. And you'll notice now that there is one enumeration district left. So what I can do at this point, I went to Google and I Googled 1950 census. It gives me this link because right now it's only at the National Archives. The various genealogy websites will be working very quickly to get it up. But anyway, so we go to this and we'll go to begin search. And what I'll do is I'll put in the state. So we want Massachusetts. City or county, we want Essex. Then we go back here, we want enumeration district 5-420. And then it looks like nothing has happened if you've got the screen in the right way. But if you go up here, scroll up, you'll see you get this one listing. There are 33 pages for Massachusetts, and we're going to click on population schedules, and you'll get this cover page. And then what you'll do is you will scroll through. You can make it bigger, and you'll scroll through until you find the right street. So you'll see here's Liberty Hill Avenue, North Street, and you will go through and you'll find, I should have made a note of what page number they were on, but it was 1 o'clock this morning and I didn't. They were up near the top of the page, I know that. So anyhow, that's how you do that. And let's do another one. Let's go back to the census find enumeration. This is at stevemorse.org, and it's the Unified Census Enumeration District Finder. And I'm going to go to New York this time, and Erie County, and the city of Buffalo. And I don't know what house number my dad would have been living at this point. I know he was on one of two streets. About this time, his older brothers and his younger sister had moved out. So it was just him and my grandmother and an aunt. And so they had downsized, and it was right around this time. So we'll look at the one that I know came first. Where is Skillen? There is Skillen. So we'll look at Skillen. And as you can see, there are multiples here. And I went through and I put in the cross streets, and we came up with enumeration district 65-641. And I clicked on that, and I'm going to hit the National Archives viewer. and it takes me right to this enumeration district. And I was very lucky. I hit on population schedules. I go past the cover page, and let's take a look. Right there at the top of the page, there's my grandmother, my father, and my wonderful, absolutely tremendous favorite aunt, Aunt Joni. And this is my grandmother's brother living there. And then you get the information about them. If they were US citizens, you'll see at this point, my grandmother had naturalized, my uncle hadn't. They both worked. They didn't put in student, they used other. And then the H means that they were, it's a housewife. And you can see my grandmother at this point is a registered nurse working at a polio clinic, because this is before the polio vaccine. Uncle Jim was working as a janitor at a radiator plant. And the other thing to notice on some of these, you'll see that lines 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, and 29 have more information at the bottom. And it just happens, my father, it was a wonderful person, and he manages to have been wonderful at the age of 20, although actually he was 21 when this was taken, to go down to line 4 and go down here at the bottom of the page, and you'll see here that they were not living in this house a year ago, not on a farm, but living in the same county. Since he was living in the same county, he didn't have to answer that. Where were his parents born? He's finished, he's in his, he's attending his 3rd year of college, hasn't finished it. He's actually in his 3rd year of college at this point. And so he's there. He had worked in the summer and he'd worked for 11 weeks the previous summer, made a grand total of $587. And so on. And he had not served in the armed forces. He was too young for World War II and was in a protected profession for Korea. They did not draft scientists in Korea. So that's how you find somebody if you have an address. So let's look at the other way you can find somebody, which is the beginnings of some optical character recognition. You'll notice, unlike earlier censuses, these are all fairly nicely printed. And so what they've done at the National Archives is used optical character recognition on this. And it's not perfect. It's going to have to be refined over the next few weeks and months. But let's take a look. Let's see if I can find my grandfather. And he would have been in North Carolina at this point, and in Raleigh, Wake County. And you'll notice when there's a big city, it's under Raleigh, not Wake, when you're looking for these things. And I'm going to put in his last name and then hit search. Oh, I need to put in his last name and then hit search. Oh, that's what the problem is. I've still got the Enumeration District from looking for my father. And you'll see here, if you want to take something out, you just hit the little red X. And so here's one that's not my family, but if we scroll down, here's Robert Laroyd, and we're going to hit population schedule. And there he is. And you can see it actually is Learoyd, and that will get fixed over the next few weeks and months. And what happens is when somebody here, so example, the two sons, Bert and Bradford, will have this line, they will not be indexed, because at this point because there wasn't anything here for the machine OCR to recognize. You'll notice that Robert is listed by his family nickname, but it gives you, here's their address. It's 1538 Iredell Drive. None of them, they very nicely, on this one, it's different sample lines, and they very nicely fit in lines 4 through 7 for this family in between sample line 3 and sample line 8. So they managed to completely miss the extra information lines. And as you can see, it gives their birthplace, his wife, his second wife is a homemaker. He's working. He worked 56 hours the previous week as an insurance agent. And you'll notice here, this state college actually goes with the above line. So this person is a chemist at in the agronomy department at North Carolina State College. And then this code is for whether it's private business, government, and so on. So that's the way to find somebody by name. And as I said, you know, you're not going to have, so let's clear these and leave the Leroy and go to the state of Massachusetts and put Leroy back in. Looks like it's not picking it up, and search. And here you have Barbara, who at this point, I don't know if it's they're listing my grandmother or my mother, because they had the same name at this point. And you'll see here, you get two of them. So one of them is my mother and one of them is my grandmother. And so we're going to just look here, and here they are. And again, very nicely on this one, the extra sample lines are 2 and 7, and my family is 3 to 6. So here they are at 22 and 23 Woodside Street. And you have, these are my great grandparents, my grandmother and my mother. And again, that works, and you get the information you're expecting here. So that's a quick overview of how to find somebody. These will be indexed better and at the various genealogical websites in the near future. But as I said, for right now, what you'll want to do is go to Google and just search 1950 census. And the first record is this National Archives site. So that's the quick introduction to dealing with the new census returns. And so happy searching. I hope you find something about your family. I didn't find anything I didn't know, but maybe you will. So enjoy.